So let's do this, and let's do this good. Good morning from the UFI office in Paris to this session of UFI Connects, a different session of UFI Connects compared to the ones we've done so far, because we thought we recently did a conversation with some of our working group leaders, and they said, why don't you run a session, Ask Me Anything, where members and the community can dial in to see what drives you and your agendas and your conversations, to see how we can support you in doing that. And likewise, if there are questions on your sides about some of the activities we do, it being education, research, the events, advocacy, the reopening, just to have conversations about that. So this is meant to be very conversational today. Pascal, I believe we have a few slides I am to talk through in the beginning. Thank you. So today we have in alphabetical order, I believe, on this slide, Christian, our research manager, Nick, our head of regions, and our regional manager for Europe, Naji, our regional director for the Middle East, Angela, our program manager for education and working groups, and Caitlin, our content producer, and my name is Kai Hattendorf. Next slide, please. A few informations about upcoming activities. So to give a little context, you will have heard that we opened the registration for our Global Congress. This will take place November 3 to 6 in Rotterdam, the Netherlands, and it will of course be face-to-face, on-site, in real life, all together, whatever terminology we now use for what we used to call a Congress. The website you can find more information is www.uficongress.org. Registration is open, as I said. First hotel rooms are already being booked. You can register now if you wish, and if you're slightly uncertain about the development of COVID, we are flexible in the cancellation terms if the pandemic should return and force us to change our current plans later in the year. Next slide, please. We will be happy to discuss today and talk a little more on the UFI Certified Professional designation and certification, which is our designation for education. Now, over the years, many of our members asked for that. We've been running educational programs for a long, long time, and now we've bundled them and clustered them and reimagined them and launched new ones to be sure that we can deliver a global variability of education, because we don't believe that one size fits all when it comes to education. Needs around the world are very, very different. And we want to make sure that you can have education that serves your specific needs in your market for your career. And you can combine these to have a designation from us as the world's organization for our industry. Next slide, please. The next major course under that framework is the Exhibition Management School. It's actually the third class we are doing on this after we launched it in the fourth quarter of last year. So we've been doing one every quarter, and which is picked up very, very well. And again, Angela will be happy to talk more about that later. The next class, our course starts at the end of this month, and you can still sign up. Pascal already shared the next slide, which is our upcoming Latin America conference. We've done our regional conferences for Asia Pacific, for the Middle East, and for Europe. We will still do our one for Latin America, August 10 to 12. Now this will be online. It's winter in the Southern Hemisphere, and we are unfortunately facing not that much of a fortunate situation around the COVID pandemic down there right now. So we will run this event digitally to allow everyone to connect and participate. www.ufilatam.org for that event. Thank you, Pascal, for jumping to the next one. We have joined forces a few months ago with the ETT Club and the MBB Consulting Group as the founder of that group, of that club, to provide a global community for our industry. Now, while UFI as a trade association is having companies as members, the ETT Club is a community for each and every one of you as individuals. So it's in addition to the office we have as a trade association to make sure that every industry professional can connect with content, connect with the global community. And we are very pleased to see this community grow. I think we are closing into 900 or closing into 1,000 members by now from all around the world with a lot of really, really interesting content. Here's one example for an event that takes place next week. I think we have another slide, Pascal. That's research. Christian will be happy to delve deeper into that. 2 examples of research that we will launch in the next couple of weeks. You will probably all be familiar with UFI's exhibition barometer, which is a research we publish twice a year, always in early February and always in July, based on surveying our industry around the world. Now, this is the gold standard of industry research for exhibitions. It tracks how we've been doing as an industry in the past 12 months, and it also looks ahead what we as an industry believe the trend will be like in the next 6 months to come. Now, we've significantly expanded this research in the throughout the pandemic to cover a lot of additional topics that allow us to create strong messaging on the advocacy side as we advocate for the reopening and for support to our sector as the one sector that helps every sector to come out of the pandemic. We're also tracking that recovery with the Global Recovery Insights Reports series. That's a mouthful, Global Recovery Insights Reports series, or GRI, that we do together with our research partner, Explori. Those of you who joined us for the European conference online last week already saw a sneak peek of the results. We hope to have the full report ready to be released in late July. Now, this will be available to members only. One more slide? I think we have. No, we don't. So that was a very quick overview over a number of activities we are doing. And with that, who am I handing over to? Am I asking for questions, or does everybody introduce themselves? I suggest we have a quick round of introductions, right? Caitlin?
Yep, I think that sounds great. And I will start. Hi, everyone. I think I know most of the people on the call, but if you don't, hi, I'm Caitlin Reed. You can find me in London most of the time, and I am delighted to be helping the UFI team with different content and things like the UFI Connects and anything else going on. So I really encourage anybody who's got questions, especially if they're very hard and we can direct them to Kai, that's ideal today. Nick, why don't you go next?
Whoops. Thanks, Caitlin. So good morning, everyone. So I'm Nick Dugdale-Moore, UFI's Regional Director in Europe. So yeah, as Kai mentioned, we finished the European conference last week, which was digital. So if you joined us, I know Paul was there, Berislav, you were there. So the sessions are all online now, but for other UFI members, for the rest of you, they will be available at the end of this week in the members section of the UFI website.
Angela?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Angela Herberholz, and I'm based at the headquarters of UFI in Paris. So I'm living here as well. So you can find me in France, except when Germany is playing. So very disappointed for yesterday's game, but hey, congrats. So at UFI, I'm focusing on skill development to meet the needs of our industry and the workplace in general. Specifically, as Kai mentioned, I look after our educational programs and the UCP, the UFI Certified Professional. In addition to education, I'm also engaged with the next generation leaders of our industry through our NGL grant that you have probably heard about, where we accompanying talents over a period of 18 months and help them in their personal and professional development and their career development specifically. And in addition to skill and talent development, I'm also privileged to be working with our working groups that focus on specific topics, including digital innovation, HR management, everything around industry partners. And I see that Paul and Berislav, members of this group, are on this call, so a shout out to them. We have also a working group on marketing, operations and services, and sustainable development.
Thanks, Angela. Christian, would you like to go next?
Yes, sure. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Christian Druart, also based in Paris. I'm French, and I'm in charge of the research, in charge of sustainable development, and the associations committee.
Naji?
Hello, everyone. Naji Haddad. I'm the regional director for UFI in the Middle East Africa region. I'm based in the UAE. Our most recent activity for the chapter here was the UFI MEA conference held 3 weeks ago in Dubai, live in person. It was attended by 150 delegates in total. This is a 50% growth over the previous edition, and this is a clear testimony of the need for people to get together. We can talk more about it in due course, but yeah, and I look forward to this session and to your questions.
Thank you so much. And now, anybody who's familiar will also see there are a couple other UFI team members who we have not said that they are active participants here, but if we need to call on them, we certainly will. So we've gotten a couple of questions in advance. So I'm going to kick off with some of the most common ones, as you might suspect. We've got different questions about the Global Congress. Obviously, Kai started by introducing it and saying that we are hoping to have it face-to-face, which is the number one question we're getting. But Kai, do you want to talk a little bit more about your thoughts on why we're doing it face-to-face and if we would be considering any sort of hybrid version or anything like that with it?
Sure, happy to. Why are we doing it face-to-face? Because this is what our industry does. And we've been doing now, I think this is the 52nd UFI Connects. We've been doing our annual Congress digital only last year. We've held our Global CEO Summit digital. 2 out of our 3 regional conferences we held digital. And the feedback from, I think it's been around thousands of people over all these events, has been very consistent. Thank you for keeping us connected. Thank you for the content and the quality of the content, but let's please get together face-to-face. And where we were able to do that, Naji and Dubai, the feedback was, thanks for the content and thanks for the networking. And thanks for bringing us together and giving us an opportunity to meet. Now people attend, we know that from all your feedback after the events. You come to the UFI events for 3 reasons. To be with your peers and to maintain connections and friendships in the industry and to build new connections and friendship across the industry. You're coming to do business and you're coming for the content. So the content we can do online, that's easy, technically. And we've all learned how to do that over the last 18 months. The interaction, the connectivity, the serendipity, the spending time together, that recharging of the batteries of human relations, we can only do face-to-face. So we discussed with our leadership and they're super clear, let's do face-to-face wherever we can. And let's do digital where we must. And if we do face-to-face, let's focus on the face-to-face experience and where useful and feasible, make the content and make other elements available for people who can't be on site with us. So for the Congress, we will very much focus on the live event on site. And we will look maybe to stream the sessions live around the world, maybe to have a program in the lead up to the Congress or follow-up program digitally to connect those who couldn't come. I think one of the main learnings we had as an industry when we discuss hybrid is that you're doomed to fail if you try to do a face-to-face event and a screen-to-screen event in one event. You have to focus on one of the audiences and you can build a good experience for the other audience around it. So we will take the summer to look what other learnings we have as an industry, how we can enhance that experience into the online space, and then work on that to make sure that those who cannot come and travel to Rotterdam in November, maybe from travel restrictions from some parts of the world will still be in place, for them to engage with that community. And we will share that when we have it. But right now the focus is very much on preparing a great on-site event, and we've secured great support from our network of partners. Ahoy is our hosting venue, Rotterdam partners supporting us. We have an invitation from the mayor to go and see, take an event to the town hall. There's a huge ship in the harbor that we will utilize for an offsite experience. We are in good hands when it comes to the venues. The hotels are excellent. Rotterdam is a beautiful city. And we will right now focus on working on that physical event over the summer. I could talk on forever, Caitlin, but I better stop.
Well, I thought maybe it might be nice, Naji, if we went to you. So Naji, you are one of the rare people on this call who has recently hosted a face-to-face event. Kind of making some of the parallels that Kai was just talking about as a return event, if I can use that term. Did you find people were more focused on the content because we have kind of switched our thinking to really being more focused on higher level content? Do you think people were there because they were so excited about actually seeing people face to face and doing the networking? What kind of were your takeaways from doing an event very recently, still with the challenges that we're all facing?
Yeah, sure, Caitlin. It was the first live in-person event for UFI in 15 months, and it's going to be the only in 18 months until the Congress in Rotterdam. So what people valued more, I think both and equally both, really, because we had one remark here I would like, or one observation I would love to share here is that we had almost 80% of people staying throughout the entire day until the last session. So it is known that sometimes people might, if they are interested only in networking, they do the networking in the morning and they leave after lunch. That was not the case. And if it was only the content and they are not interested in networking, they can ask for the sessions, for the recorded sessions. So what happened at the UFI MEA conference is that most of the people stayed from the very first minute of the conference until the very last session, and the networking breaks and lunches and even the 2 sessions that we have introduced, the open mic sessions. People were really, sharing thoughts, sharing ideas, and meeting. I think both people need a strong content. They need thought leadership. They need to hear from experts. They need to hear from people who have, tried and failed. Maybe this is why we had case studies part of the program. And at the same time, they need to network. They need to hear from each other, get together, talk business, but also have fun. So this is why the UFI MEA conference was really a success and a much needed gathering for the industry. And if it wasn't from some of the travel restrictions in some countries, we would have had maybe I don't know, 50 or 60 or 80% of the number of attendees. The thing is that it is easy to travel to Dubai, and we have done a preview session explaining how people can get to Dubai by a speaker from Dubai Tourism. Then the CEO of Dubai Tourism was on the stage. He was one of our keynote speakers, and he explained how Dubai is open for business, open for travelers, and the city is gearing up for Dubai Expo 2020. And the issue of going back to their home countries, some of the delegates said we cannot afford to have a quarantine in our home country. This is what made maybe some people not attend. Otherwise, people are eager to attend in person for a strong content and of course for networking opportunities. So we're planning our next conference. So hopefully we can announce something soon, not only in the Middle East region. I'm sure in other regions as well.
Well, and on that front, Nick, as Naji has just rubbed in your face, he has run the only face-to-face conference in the last 15 months. So as someone that recently had to do a digital event, Other than foot volley adding to the Olympics, do you have any kind of big takeaways from that? Anything you learned that was different or interesting?
Well, I mean, we're still waiting for the official feedback. But look, it's quite clear that people have Zoom fatigue somewhat. You know, and it's challenging to ask people to sit through, you know, a 1-day, a 2-day program online. So yeah, you know, to echo what Kai said and what Naji said, everybody's very keen to meet again soon. I'm here in London. We're all pretty disappointed with the government's announcement this week, which has thrown, you know, our events into sort of chaos as well. So, you know, if you're lucky enough to have an outdoor event like Concourse last week, great. But for, you know, most people indoors, Complex is the first one, that set people back. You know, it's the uncertainty that really kills us. So, yeah, as Kai said, you know, we'll meet digitally when we have to. Hopefully in Europe, our next European conference is now not till next May in Poznan, Poland. Very much looking forward to that. Obviously the Congress is in Europe, so that's a good opportunity for UFI members in Europe to kind of get together, and will probably be the first time. But, you know, I'm looking forward to being able to travel again to meet our members, as is everybody. So yeah, you know, we're all doing what we can within the limitations of what we're faced with.
So switching then a little bit. So, Angela, you look after some of the education programs that UFI does, and kind of during the pandemic, and you know, we've just spoken a lot about networking, things like that. What are you seeing with the way education needs are changing? Are you seeing more people interested in changing their skills and getting more professional degrees and certificates and things like that? What is your feeling about that?
Thank you, Caitlin. Well, first of all, maybe dipping in right into this face-to-face and online or Zoom fatigue. What we have seen with the UFI education program, the exhibition management school that we launched in September last year, is that we actually got a lot of requests and we got a lot of participants. And the feedback that we got from them was that because it is online, and we are actually able to fit this into our schedules. I mean, everybody knows that even though we didn't run a lot of shows or events during the last 18 months, everybody was even more busy than ever before. So organizing education online and trainings online was actually quite a good fit for the industry and for the time being. This doesn't mean that we don't want to go back to face and you know, getting everybody back together is obviously one of our objectives, but online education is here to stay, online live education. So with the exhibition management school, for example, we have a set over 10 sessions which are live and everybody is engaging. There is group work, there is breakout sessions, there is discussions, and everything that, you know, that is triggering exchange between the participants. The only thing, and that's an important thing, obviously, that is missing is the shared cup of coffee before, during, and after the event. So what we have been discussing with the participants who have joined our online programs is that we invite them to join us at the regional conferences and at the Congress, obviously, our members, so as to meet them face to face. Having said that, online education did work in this case very well. And I'm pretty sure it's there to stay. Maybe one other thing that I can add into how the educational needs are changing overall is that we see definitely a switch from critical roles to critical skills. So companies shift their focus from individual roles to organizational wide skills. So somebody who is working in marketing in one company and somebody who is working in marketing in another company in the same country, even in the same city, don't have the same needs when it comes to skill development, what the company needs. So this is what we saw. So rethinking the employability of the workforce and reskilling is a big trend that we're seeing with the education.
Are you seeing particular modules or sessions needing to change? Are people requesting different types of content and different skill development than we would have delivered in the past?
Yes, absolutely. So so it's more bite-sized education that is definitely requested from our industry and other industries as well. So this is nothing specific to ours, but since we're talking exhibition industry, yes, for ours. So that means we no longer look for 4 months, 6 months training courses that, you know, give you a wealth of insights, but if I want to pick a specific skill that I don't have today, but my company needs so as to stay resilient tomorrow, then I would like to take the specific skill that I need for myself rather than running through a long exhaustive program. So this is definitely what we're seeing. So, and this is what we have been adapting with the UFI certified professional. So there is 2 milestones here for anyone who wants to become UFI certified. One is one of the UFI foundation programs, we call it foundation, which is either for venue organizers or exhibition organizers, which is a comprised education that gives foundation insights. And then depending on your career path, and as I mentioned before, your company needs, the industry needs, and the challenges that every individual and the companies are facing, you can choose from modules that are short, bite-sized, and on specific skill sets, obviously such as digital innovation, virtual events, but also rethinking the business models that we're offering as an industry is one of the topics that is quite in the forefront.
Christian, to kind of go off of, right, we've just talked a lot about networking, then we've talked about educational content, and obviously all of the themes that we're talking about here are how people are staying connected and how they're getting information. I would certainly think that the research side, and I don't know this is not, but I would think that the research side, you'd see more people interested in finding out trends of what's happening, seeing more insight into other things that they're not, you know, whether it's a sector or geography or that sort of thing. Are you seeing more requests for research, more demand? Are you having to change anything? What's kind of going on with all of that?
Right. Yes. Well, as Kai mentioned earlier, our barometer, which has been running for years now, really takes the pulse of the industry twice a year. And clearly, we've had strong interest from the community, to take part in it. So we have more and more country associations who are supporting the exercise. So that we can build country profiles on the status of the respective countries. And the reason why we build this is because there's a big interest from the community at large, including financial analysts who follow our industry, to see where we are and how we are going to, how we've been affected by the COVID and how we are going to or what our expectations are for the future. So yeah, I would say, especially in times of crisis, these barometers are useful and really appreciated. By the way, we started the exercise back in 2008 because of the financial crisis. We said it's really important to see how we are going to go through that, and the result was impressive because we had continuous growth everywhere, or almost everywhere, or stagnant, at least in all regions since the financial crisis. So we are going to track this. This crisis is actually obviously more severe than the financial one was in 2008, but we have signs and we have the measurement tool now to track this trend. And so yes, I think that it's a research which is useful for everybody to see how their neighbor also face this crisis. Kai also mentioned the work we do with Explory. That's been recent, even though we've already produced 5 reports. Some just specifics on visitors' views, some on exhibitors, and the last 2 were combined. And those are really interesting also because the industry needs clients, and the clients are mainly the exhibitors and the visitors. So their perception, thanks to Explory, was a huge database of shows working with them, and everywhere in the world produces very interesting results as well as to the need for exhibitors to exhibit again, to make business, and also how they react to virtual events and hybrid events, as my colleagues already mentioned. So I think we have the tools in place to really meet our role, which is to aggregate data from everywhere in the world and share this with the community.
If you could get your hands on any data that you wanted, what else would you like to do research on? What else do you think would be really useful for the industry?
Actually, that's a good question, but I haven't thought about that because we're quite busy already running these projects. You know, we're not such a big team. Even though we conduct all this with third parties, we really much head down and getting this done on time. So give me some time to think about that. Yes,
no problem.
Right now, as far as I'm concerned, sustainability is a very important topic, which is on the agenda of many companies or stakeholders even at large. And so it's good because I think it's been there, the topic was there for years, but it's clearly came out as a priority now, I think. And so this is taking a lot of time. So I think, but Kai would need to adjust that maybe, but we have to prioritize our work. Of course, we could do more all the time in so many directions, but there are priorities, and these priorities can change from one year to another.
Well, then within that, and Christian, I'd like for you to start with it, but then I don't know, Kai, if you want to jump in, but within that, what is the work that UFI is doing on the sustainability front? How are we helping to push that agenda? What's the focus areas?
Yes, well, we started that in 2008, in fact. So we've had a long history of working with this, with our working group. We've been very fortunate to have great leaders as chair of this working group. And we've been, as I said, the topic was always there, but wasn't necessarily a top priority for the industry. So we just kept collecting best practices. We've had, in fact, I've got a slide I can share if that's of interest to some people. I guess that's the objective of such programs, to share this, and I hope you can see that. So sustainability altogether, obviously, is not just environment. I think everybody's aware of that. You can here find the address where you have more elements on our UFI website. And what I want to tackle is, through 10 years, we went through so many different themes and identified so many best practices that almost everywhere in the world, companies can target that and relate to what's good. Sustainability is a challenging topic. It's not an easy one, and it's very important to follow best practices. What we've tried as well is to see how we could work together, because we're quite fragmented. We're industry with a lot of players. Some are venues, organizers, service providers, but we need all of these for the show. We also need transports. We need the city for waste management and so on. So it's very important to work together, and we are trying to facilitate the dialogue with that. We're also looking right now into the option of a net zero industry. Even though it's a very challenging topic, but it's important now that all industry respond to the call of governments to align with the goals. And so there's a really strong agenda right now on this topic. So I would say it's equivalent priority to research, but I don't know what Kai would say about that.
Mr. H, do you want to take that? And then, although Mr. Woodward has put this more eloquently, basically, what's up with membership?
Do you want to bring Paul up to ask it himself? No, Paul, good to see your photo. And if you switch on video, I see you in real life. Now, we had the board of directors meeting last week and the executive committee meeting last week as well. There you are. Hello, Paul. Pleased to report that, well, of course, we've lost some members as some companies went out of business. We have gained a lot of new members as well. So holistically, membership isn't down, isn't particularly up. So we've been stable through the last 12 months. What we've done from the UFI side to make sure that we can cater to the needs of members in financial distress is we've been flexible about the membership payment terms when it comes to installment payments, etc. And we've kept the membership fees stable to make sure that everyone can take their turn through that 12 months of the annual membership fee due period and pay when their cash flow allows them to do so. This has worked well. We've added some top class members like Emerald in the US, the largest US-based exhibition organizer, to the membership portfolio. So very pleased to see that while this has been a super challenging year for the global industry, the work associations, as you referenced to, the work that associations have been doing has been seen by the industry. And there's no stronger way to show commitment than to pay your membership fees, even in times of duress. So big thank you to every UFI member for paying their dues. It allows us to work as hard as we did through the last financial year, or to the last 12 to 18 months, going at full speed to serve an industry when it's probably needed more than ever before. And one of the outcomes of the board meeting is that we will stick to this for the next 12 months as well. We'll be there to help everyone with whatever we have to give and whatever capacity and skills we can bring to the table to help the industry to come out of this pandemic and to rebuild, not just to rebuild, but to build back and help all the industries we serve to be successful again. I think a big game changer we've seen in the last 12 months is on the UFI side, growth and reputation. And likewise, that we've become closer as an industry through the intense collaboration with all the national and regional exhibition and events industry associations to the respective governments. And we're now in a situation where we have some direct channels to national leaders in the respective governments to make our point, to put our point across, in a great collaboration between the global messaging from UFI and the national and regional messaging from the association colleagues in the respective market. And this kind of a global plus local approach has really moved needles on reopening. And that's pleasing to say. And it encourages people indeed to pay the membership fees, Paul.
Well, kind of going off of that, and Mina, you are more than welcome to join, but also I know I did not prep you, so you are welcome not to as well. But we've just done Global Exhibitions Day, and I think a lot of the themes that you were just talking about are part of the reason that we do that. From your perspective, how did it go this year? Is this something that you thought actually we really moved the needle this year? We really were able to coordinate well across the globe? Mina, you turned on your camera. Give us Global Exhibitions Day. Come on. She can't hear us. All right, Kai, tell us about it then.
I was muted.
No, we both unmuted. So Mina, there you go.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Caitlin, for letting me jumping in. Yes, GED was this year amazing. Everyone in the events industry was very involved this year to show that the industry was ready to handle fair, to go travel, to visit again, to face-to-face event, to in-person gatherings. and it was great. We have seen lots of campaigns, so the Voices of Exhibition, but also creative campaigns like the Rise Again campaign with sunshines behind, and it was very inspiring. Also, I know from testimonies and chats that I had with industry professionals, that they had been in touch somehow with their governments too. They made some advocacy lobbying just to show that when the event industry will start again, the economy will recover even quicker than if we wait longer to reopen trade shows, to allow trade shows, and that we are well prepared to handle this kind of events, be it small or bigger or whatever. And everyone was, I mean, it was the D-Day for the industry to show, hey guys, we're alive, we're here, we can help. And we're definitely ready to help you to go back and to help you do business. And we've been working with industry events organizers from all over the world. And we ask their clients as well to help us. I mean, we care for the business. It's not about us. It's about sectors. It's about industry. I mean, customers. It's about. It's all about that. It's not just about the event industry. It's a virtuous circle that we need to still to feed, and this positive message will be spread until we go back on track 100%. So expect UFI and industry organizers to communicate on GED afterwards. So in the upcoming weeks, and hopefully until next GED, which will take place the 2nd of June, 2022. Be ready, guys.
Thanks, Nina. And it was a wonderful campaign, and I really enjoyed seeing it this year, and I hope everybody else did as well.
Thank you, Caitlin.
I have one more question that was just sent to me about the working groups. Angela, maybe would you like to take this? Are the working groups or special interest groups still happening? Have they been producing work lately? How do people get involved? What's the haps, man?
Sure. Yeah. First of all, yeah, working groups are still taking place, even more than ever over the last 12 months. We have met regularly. That I shouldn't have used that word because I can't pronounce it. Anyway, so they have met on a monthly basis to exchange and actually to stay in touch with what is happening in each respective company. What are the difficulties? How can we help one another? And we have been working also across working groups overall. But maybe one or two words about those working groups, what it is and who they are actually. So I mentioned in the beginning that we have 6 working groups on specific topics, and all UFI members are welcome to join these working groups if they have a specific interest and expertise in one of those topics. So I mentioned in the beginning, sustainable development, digital innovation, marketing, operations and services, and so on and so forth. So each group organizes throughout the year events, meetings, gatherings where they discuss industry trends, where they produce also an annual award program, which brings out best practice cases. So we invite the entire industry, members and non-members, to send us their specific best practices, what has thrived their business under a specific topic, and then we have a jury of experts looking at those entries and then showcasing best practices, because this is something that UFI is standing for, a global network, and not everybody needs to reinvent the wheel. So whatever we can do to share what is working well in the one market or the other, or in one part of the world or the other, we try to do through the award program. So we have some compendiums set up which are focusing on those entries of the awards. We also have research coming out. Last year, the industry partners, working group, Berislav and Paul, they are a part of it, have produced a benchmark survey. So what does it mean to work as an industry partner, and what are the organizers and the venues need from us as service providers? They're just running the second edition of that, which will be published around the Congress. And yeah, so there is lots of products that are actually coming out of those working group. And in addition to that, we work across the topics to see what is marketing focusing on, can they support sustainable development, digital innovation, how does that work across as well. So yeah.
Well, in that case, I didn't realize that the awards were judged by actually people in the working groups and experts and things, and therefore I would like the bribe that I sent to you sent back, please. Thank you. Mina has asked a question from anybody in the audience. Does anybody have any expectations of UFI in the upcoming months? Is there anything you feel like, God, guys, why aren't you focused on this? This is the obvious thing. Or things you want to see us get involved in, or you want to tell us anything? We're here. We're here. These are our faces. Tell it to us. But certainly, of course, you can always message us afterwards, send us emails. We are always around. I am personally always at home, so feel free. Info@ufi.org will be a wonderful place that will get to many of our email boxes. And if there is nothing else, I think I will. What are your plans for the UFI Congress? Get drunk and stay up all night hanging out with everybody. But I assume that's not what you were looking for, BJ. Kai, do you want to give a little bit more about the Congress, and then we'll say
yeah, Vijay,
good morning to the
thanks
rest
for
of us.
joining. This was the first question we answered. So it'll be in person, it'll be in Rotterdam. We will focus on the in-person experience. We will look at how we can best extend that to the audience that cannot be with us IRL in real life. But for the days of the Congress, we will focus on the on-site experience for everyone who's there. What that kind of digital edition will look like, whether it's before the event or after the event, we will get our heads around that after the summer. Because right now, the speed of evolution in the industry is so fast that it makes very little sense to finalize some planning now in June for something in November. For the only thing we would know for sure is that we would change this planning. So we are out and about, we are looking what works at other hybrid experiences or other hybrid events to see how we can best apply where we are by then as an industry to the Global Congress. So the focus is in person, in Rotterdam, on site, all together, and watch Caitlin get drunk.
Both in person and online. Sorry. How can UFI help people who've been made redundant during this pandemic? That's an excellent question. I do not have an answer to that. Kai, do you have an answer to that? Do you want...
It's something we've been discussing, whether we should launch a portal for people who are looking for their next gig or looking for another employment. And we decided that this is best served with lots of these great initiatives that we see in many markets around the world. A global portal has a lot of complexity, and the job profiles are very, very different, even if they may carry a very similar name in some parts of the world. So we are always happy, Omar, to connect you with the members that we have in UFI that are focusing on HR related matters and help companies to source and find new colleagues. That's something we've been doing a lot. And we can point you in the respective markets to some of the offers from some of our member companies and member organizations. I know there are big portals out in the US. I know there are portals in the UK run by the respective associations. I would expect that to be the case as well in the Middle East and across Asia. But I know most of them that I'm personally familiar with are in Europe and North America.
And
you're welcome.
More questions. Now is your time. If not, oh, yes, maybe. Gosh, I really need to get a bigger screen.
Taking a look at, shall I read it out?
Yeah,
Taking a look at yesterday's UEFA Euro football match in Portugal. Congratulations, in Budapest. Congratulations, Portugal, by the way, with a full stadium. Is there anything to improve the status of the event industry across Europe? Still, a lot of them are closed. Welcome back to our daily chore of advocacy. Now, we are super happy that on the European level, we've been able to advocate so strongly to reopen borders, to facilitate travel, and for the EU to basically put in writing the role our sector plays. Now, the EU has recommended that traveling into a country to attend a business event is essential travel, based on recommendations from a few players, including Barbara and the team in Brussels, working for the industry for us. The EU has passed that, has agreed on that EU-wide vaccination certificate process. So people can prove that they are vaccinated or tested or that they've successfully recovered from COVID. So that's the context. And we have all the good practice guides based on our UFI global framework and the All Secure standards to share with national decision makers, local authorities, organizers, venues in every market, how we can operate events safely. Now, some of these standards have been implemented into national law or national regulations in Spain and Italy, across Germany, etc. So we've been super successful there to make the point that business events are not football matches, are not the Munich Beer Festival, but they're not mass gatherings, but organized gatherings of professionals. And we are working with the national associations to support their respective work in reopening. Because a national government, a regional government doesn't take input from a global body. We can connect the dots in the background and say, you know, this is working in Denmark, this is working in Spain, this is working in Singapore, so why shouldn't it work in Hungary? Or why shouldn't it work in Sweden? Or why shouldn't it work elsewhere? And then give the validated experiences and best practices that then facilitate the conversation in the country. So this is an ongoing, everyday work, and we're all in this together. And there are days that are full of positive messages, and then there are days where a reopening is pushed back by a few weeks, like we saw this week in the UK. Yeah, it's every day, every day, every day. Angela, you just shared the link to that latest version of the good practice document. Christian, I know that Chris Keith, the chair of our associations committee, is working diligently with all the other association colleagues on pressing home that message. But it's an everyday work, and if there would be a one-size-fits-all solution, we would happily go for it. But as you know, in the end, it has to be the authorities at the destination to give the green light and the license to operate. And there are some markets that are eager to reopen, some markets that are hesitant to reopen based on the respective government policies and health policies in place. Our message is always the same. We can run events safely. It is safer to be at a business event than it is to go to the supermarket. And if you help us to open and run the business events, the meeting places, the marketplaces for industries, this is the best way to help every industry, to help every sector, to help every small business in your country to recover from COVID. We are the fastest of our fast tracks to economic recovery if you just let us do this.
Oh, thank you. So I'm monitoring that last year, but it's really in sport events, a lot of things is going on right now. And I think that most of you is covering UEFA Euro, then NBA playoff and so on. So it's a lot of people in the halls inside. And so it's difficult to see that the governments don't understand the importance of business to business events, is not giving the green light for the events, and is giving green light for the football. Okay, football is the most important thing in the world, we know that, but so I think that maybe some of these events and football matches could help to point out, so that business events could get a green light faster than maybe right now. So this is just one digression. So thank you.
Great. Mr. Coyne has asked about getting involved with the Global Congress. Nick, I don't know if you maybe want to take that, or if you would rather call him later and be like, hey.
Well, no, I mean, I'll call you later, Matt. So I mean, you said event/congress. So the Congress is our only members-only event. Obviously, the CEO Summit is slightly different, but all our other events are open to the industry. So, you know, most of what we do is open to the industry. So for a startup, you know, in general, the ETT Club is a good way to sort of, you know, get involved on a topical discussion. You know, the work that our working groups do is not limited to members only. You know, there's often, whether it's the research or the conversations they're having, it's for the members. You know, our European event was last week. Obviously, that unfortunately coincided with several other events that, you know, one of them I know you were heavily involved with. So the Congress is the tricky one. You know, this is our members only event. So as a non-member, you know, to sponsor is normally the only way to be there. You know, unless, well, you know, our award winners get invited, etc. So, and of course speakers. So, you know, I guess the best way is to keep in touch with the Digital Innovation Committee, which I also know the person because that's me at the moment, and sort of, you know, to show up to our other events. But it'd be good, you know, most of our kind of, as I said, most of our conversation, most of the dialogue, most of the work we do is sort of open source, as it were. So yes, we need to kind of figure out for a startup, you know, if there's a way that, I don't know, you know, tech startups can be featured at the Congress. I mean, I'm not promising anything, but, you know, other than that.
He promised it.
What? No, I didn't promise it.
Don't worry, Matt, it's recorded, the whole thing.
No, so
let me come to Nick's rescue here. Good to see you, Matt. Looking forward to reconnect face to face, and congratulations on, I think it was almost winning that startup award last week, but second prize is cool. You know, we are probably the industry association that shares by far the most of its events and content with the industry at large, because we believe we have a responsibility for the industry at large. So the ETT Club, as Nick mentioned, is great to be connected as a startup and with professionals across the industry, because it's a way to connect as an individual. Most of the events are open to non-members because they're open to the industry at large. Some things are and will remain and have to remain reserved for members only. So for a startup, the best way is, as Nick said, engage in the ETT Club, reach out to the industry community in your topic of interest through a working group, attend every event but the Congress, or once you have secured from these meetings so much funding that you're a wealthy startup, join UFI.
No, absolutely. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. And I'd normally have my camera on, but I'm currently sat in the garden, so.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You put picture in our minds.
All right, we are bang on 60 minutes, and I really, really like to stay on time. So I think I will close it. However, should anyone have more questions, we will be doing a similar session. It will be in Spanish next week, but promise if you come with questions in English, we could answer them there as well. And why don't I never do the ending, but I'm going to do the ending this time. That's right. I'm going to get the last word. Thank you, Pascal. We always have more UFI Connects coming up, or else I don't have a job. So stay tuned. We will be giving you more information on upcoming UFI Connects. Do I have any other ending slides, Pascal? And thank you to our diamond sponsors who are always here and providing us with all of their support. We're very appreciative to them. And thank you very much to the UFI team for being willing to be grilled on anything that would come up today. This was very fun. I liked it a lot. And I'm afraid we're going to do more of them. So thank you all. Thank you everybody for joining today. And we will see you soon.